Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crypto Carlos Fandango YouTube channel. Who'd be a chia farmer, eh? Wow, what a week. This video is not going to be about the news that's been coming out and the talk that's been going on other channels. This particular video is going to be concentrating only on my first year with the space pool farming pool. But in my next video, I'm going to be talking a lot about the chia news that has come out. And if you've been watching other channels like Digital Spaceport, you would have seen his interview with CEO Gene Hoffman and the revelation of the layoffs at CHIA, not good news. And also another video that Digital Spaceport did afterwards where he discussed a lot of other things. I must admit, a lot of it went over my head. I didn't understand a lot of it. It's very financial, very hard to take in, but it certainly looks like unsettling times. What I will say is it's worth going and looking at his latest video, purely because he's done a massive amount of work on a Google spreadsheet that is well worth having, that will show you the current state of your farm now, a clear picture now, and a clear picture of what you can expect with the halving that's happening in March of 2025. March of 2024. 3 years after the mainnet launch. We're about 86% of the way there. So yeah, it's looking March 2024. Your profits are going to be halved. So I would recommend you go and have a look at both those videos that he's put out, because he's done a phenomenal amount of work on there, and he's answered a lot of questions, cleared up a lot of questions for me, but also raised a lot more. But enough about that. My strategy is going to change. I'm already looking at alterations to the way I'm doing things. Started looking at replotting with a lot of seriousness. Alterations to my farming hardware setup, and I've put a bit of a halt on my expansion plans for the moment. Purely going to see what's happening over the next 3 months and see how things settle down. As I say, it's uncertain times and I'm a bit concerned, so I'm just going to put the brakes on for a bit. But I'll still be making content. I'll still be showing you what I'll be doing to my farm to try and put myself in a good position for what's potentially coming up and what we definitely know is coming up. So enough about that for now. That's going to be in the next video. I'm going to go into a bit more detail and show you what I'm doing. But this video is all about my first year on Space Pool. October the 2nd last year is when I turned my first system on, farming chia, and it's been a year. And let's have a reflective look back and see what I've done in that year, whether I've been happy with it or not, and what I would have done differently, things like that. So if you're not aware already, you can have a look at my Space Pool account. It's IvoryLion if you search for it on Space Pool, and that will show you a true picture of what's going on. I'll show you some screenshots from that in a moment. I'll also show you my earnings to date. This video is actually going out a bit late. It's the 8th of October now. It's taken me a long time to get it together. I've had a lot going on and a few farming problems to deal with, so apologies it didn't come out on time, but yes, I will show you my earnings to date as a snapshot as of the 2nd of October. We'll look at still my profit and loss per day on the spreadsheet. We'll have a little look back in time at what hardware I started with and what hardware I have now and where I've got to, and where I was potentially thinking of going with that hardware. And then a look at some of the things that I would have done differently and maybe some regrets. So here is as of the 2nd of October this year. This is what we were looking at. The price at that point in time was £21.48. As I say, a lot's happened in a week, and that price has gone down considerably. I think last time I looked, it was about £18, £18.5. Yeah, so it's taken a drastic hit of the things that have been going on. My farm on Space Pool, it reports and fluctuates between anything between 109 TIB to about, well, it has gone up to 150 TIB at some points. It always fluctuates between that. They never are able to sort of fully accurately estimate what size your farm is, and it seems to fluctuate and adjust on Spacepool accordingly. So some days you see your revenue larger than others, and it's a little bit hard to understand, and it doesn't always, I would say, reflect what you expect to earn, but that could be down to my setup, my network. It could be all sorts of issues that are contributing to it, so I'm looking at those separately to see if I can improve it. But as of 2nd of October, I only had just over 6 XCH from farming, and another 0.5 from block rewards, from these 2 block rewards here. So 6.578165. Not a lot in a year, but it's growing exponentially. The bigger the farm gets, the more I'm earning. So it's taken a long time starting from scratch in your first year. So I'm quite happy with what's got there. I'm not happy with the price, but I'm quite happy with what it's earned in that time. I won't say I'm very happy with the block rewards, and as I say, I'm looking at my farm to see where the problems could be, especially with the latest release of the CHIA software, with so many more diagnostic tools in it, which I go through in a previous video. I'm just looking at those areas that might be causing me not to win blocks as frequently as I should. I won one in February and one in July. I would have expected, something in September. Nothing's come through yet in October, so just concerned that there may be something wrong with the farm, but looking at that separately. Okay, moving on. So this just shows you a snapshot of daily earnings over that week up till the 2nd. So as you can see, at the time I was recording this, which wasn't at the end of the day, I was up to 0.022762. Typically, a daily amount is anything from 0.038 to as low as this, 0.031899. So yes, it can go between 70 and 90 pence at the price. So yeah, it's not consistent. You don't expect, as you can see here, look, daily earnings are up and down, up and down, up and down. I would have expected them to see, a bit more of a consistent line. But one thing I have found out today that could be contributing to this, and I don't know if anyone else has these, but obviously I don't have a properly wired Ethernet network in my home. It's something I plan to do in the future. So my Ethernet is being carried over powerline adapters. And I've heard today that even if you turn on an electrical device, such as a washing machine that makes a lot of noise and has a lot of power usage, it can interfere greatly with powerline adapters and their performance. So that might have something to do with it. So I may have to look at getting a properly installed Ethernet network to alleviate that. So that could explain some of this. And then looking at my spreadsheet that I keep going, I don't know why. As you can see, 126 TIB, 1278 plots as of the 2nd of October. And I'm currently losing at the price it was, which was, what was it, 21.85 on the 2nd of October. I was losing 30 pence a day. Not of great concern to me. I'm not entirely in this for the money, as I say. It's the love of building the machinery and playing around. That's more of it for me. Any financial benefit I get out of it will be great if it comes. But I'm not concerned about losing 30 pence a day after electricity costs. I can cover that with no problem at all. I can even cover a bit more than that. So, what I need to do to work to get the farm, working and performing and growing is there's still wiggle room for that. I'm not overly concerned, It is running 24 hours a day, so 30p a day is nothing really to me. So I'm quite happy with that, although it is in the red, and it would be nice to see it in the black. We're not going to see that for some considerable time, I would imagine. The price has got to, crawl up, and something's got to make it crawl up. I don't know what that will be. Maybe first quarter of next year we'll know, because a lot would have happened by that time. So maybe we'll start seeing price increases again there. And who knows when we'll come out of this bear market. Nobody does. But yeah, so that's the state of play with that at the moment. And then a quick look. I was just having a dig through my eBay purchase records just to see the first items that I bought, because I couldn't even remember what I started off with. And yes, it was 3 items I had to buy very quickly together. I decided immediately off the bat to go with a NAS unit, and I got this one with 4 2TB discs in it, Western Digital Red discs, the Netgear ReadyNAS 2100, my first one. It needed some upgrading, which I carried out and thankfully worked okay. And that wasn't a bad purchase for 150 quid, I don't think. I had a little sort of 2 or 3 unit rack that was made of wood, that was originally used for music hardware. So I reused that to mount this ReadyNAS in, and also alongside that a switch so that I could Ethernet all this together with the PC that I bought, which was this Dell Precision 3620, which was around about 200 quid I think I negotiated it down to. And it wasn't bad, 32 gig of memory, it had an SSD in it, Windows 10 license came with it, i7. So it's plenty beef enough to do the job, and I thought it was a reasonable price. The Power Connect, the Dell Power Connect, yes, that was dirt cheap when I bought it, but boy was it noisy. I think the very first video I made on this channel was about that unit and how noisy it was, and it was horrendous. The fans on it were terrible. So I very quickly changed that to something else, as you've probably seen in later videos. But yeah, that first little lot of kit all went together, and I was off and farming. And now we're a year down the line, and it's grown considerably. I haven't taken pictures of all the hardware that I've purchased extra, but as of today, we've got this very pretty looking 40 unit rack that I've got. It's very pretty, but it doesn't do a lot at the moment. That's got 4 of those Netgear ReadyNAS 2100 units in it, 2 of which are active. The other 2 we'll talk about in the next video, the plans for those, and it's obviously got that DS4246 from NetApp as well, and the UPS and the switch and a couple of patch panels. Very pretty, as you can see from the multicolour lighting that I can switch on it. I mainly have it on the white because it's very handy for when I'm working in the evening on it, doing things, tidying cabling, whatever. So it's good cheap lighting, and it does look quite effective. And then I started to move, based on some feedback I was getting on videos. I thought I've got to look into USB 3 hard drives and storing plots and farming from them as well. So that's what I did, and I've got 4 of these HGST 10 terabytes, 3 in sort of external drive holders, and 1 in a multi sort of stacking rack here that are running off a special connector. And then I started to get some larger 16 terabyte Exos drives, which I've got 2 now, and running those off there as well. And very, very good, 6 watts they're running at each on there. I'm not 100% convinced they're as performant as the discs that are running in JBOD configuration in these ReadyNAS units. As I say, I was getting the blocks a lot more when I had more of the ReadyNAS units running. That might be another reason why I've not seen the block wins as frequent as I want. It could be because I made this decision to move to USB drives, and now I think more than half of my farm is plotted on USB drives at the moment. I intend to change that. Then the other big purchase, once again, I think it was just over 200 quid, was that dual CPU Xeon Dell machine with 128 gig of RAM in it. Very glad I purchased that. That's going to come in handy now. It's going to kick into play a little bit more now with my plans, which I'll talk about in the next video. It's going to see a lot more use than it has done. So I'm glad I made that purchase. Yeah, so that's where we are today. A lot of cabling, a lot of diagnostics been done. I wouldn't say it's 100% as I would like it at the moment. I really do need to invest in some good Ethernet cables of the correct lengths for the back of this unit, you know, for the hardware to the switch, and I have invested in some longer ones for external. I don't know what I'm going to do with this rack yet, whether the plan was to get a 4U sort of PC server rack enclosure and then build my own PC within that to do farming of compressed plots just off of the DS4246 and have it just do that and keep my other farmer for the rest of the hardware. I've put the hold on that for the moment, and I'll talk more about that in the next video. Okay, so very briefly then, what would I have done differently? Well, this list has actually grown over the last week, but I won't talk about that either at the moment. So yeah, initially I started off as a GPU miner. I was investing heavily in GPU mining pre the Ethereum merge. I wanted to diversify because I knew the Ethereum merge was coming up, and I didn't want all my eggs in one basket. So that's where the CHIA farming came from. It was to make sure I wasn't relying purely on GPU mining. I didn't really want to go to CPU mining if I could help it. It's once again a very messy mining operation, isn't it? GPU mining, CPU mining, a lot of kit, a lot of cables, a lot of everything going everywhere. I prefer to keep it a lot more contained, hence why I've got the server rack I've got, and why I've got a dislike again for USB drives all hanging about. So yeah, definitely wish I had invested less in that and maybe concentrated a little bit more on spending the money I spent on GPUs on the CHIA farm initially. Definitely on getting more hard drives while the prices were good. Hard drive prices have gone up. I have seen them inflate quite a lot. I have bought HGST 10 terabyte SATA drives for as low as early £70 mark when I first started. They seem to be crawling up well over 100 quid now. You can still find them for about 90 £90. The quality is questionable because not all of them will come with a crystal disk info report. So if I was a betting man, I would say I would expect hard drive prices to come down over the next 6 months. I would imagine we're going to see a little bit of net space drop off. I think there's probably a lot of farmers out there who are just going to say, it's not worth it at this price, it's not worth it, I'm all about the profit, there's nothing here, I'm going to switch to something else. And so I think demand will fall down for the larger hard drives especially. And I think over the next 6 months I'm going to predict that prices will come down, and I'm going to watch them closely. I watch them every day on all types of hard drives, all types of sizes, specs, every single day, just looking for that one that drops where I can pounce on it, and I'll continue to do that. I may be wrong. They may stay at the price they are. They may go up. I don't know. But I'm. If you were to ask me, that's what I think might happen. We might see a good few quid come off the price of a drive, and that will be the time to start snapping them up if you're determined to stay with CHIA or another hard drive based mining crypto. Yeah, so as far as investment, that's the three areas that I would have maybe done differently. But that would have meant that I would have only had CHIA running, and I wouldn't have been diverse enough. So I think that would have forced me to look at other hard drive mining cryptos. There are a few out there. I've not looked at them yet. I may look at them in the future. I would have bought a full-size rack right at the beginning. I have just sold on eBay my 12-unit Linkscom rack that I bought. Lovely rack, did the job beautifully, kept everything cool in there with the two fans I fitted in the roof space. Nice and quiet. It was a really good rack, but I grew out of it very, very quickly. In fact, I grew out of it as soon as I bought my fourth Ready NAS, and that I wasn't adequately spacing the hardware in order to get everything in that rack. So I really wish I'd gone for a larger one straight off the bat, rather than having to do it now. And also, I wished I would have planned my accommodation of all this better. It is a 3-bedroom house, but the 1 bedroom is tiny. It's a box room basically, and I have obviously one of those large rooms is my bedroom. The other two, one is my sort of hobby recording studio sort of room, and I've got a work office space as well, that's got quite a bit of kit that I have to maintain. And then there was where I was going to put all this crypto mining infrastructure. And it has moved locations several times, and I think I've hit the last sort of format it can be in now in this house. So I've kept my home office and hobby recording studio and my work office in the one room, and it's split between the two, which is quite convenient because you just spin the chair around after one and you're in the other space. And it's also quiet because it's got nothing running in it. And then the small box room, as you've seen, has got all my crypto kit in there now. It's very cramped in there. There's not a lot of room to maneuver, especially with that rack in there now. But it's doing okay for the meantime. If I'd had a garage that was attached to the house that had electrical facilities, then I would have considered putting all of this in there. Unfortunately, my garage is away from the house and too far away to cable up or do anything like that. But we'll have to see what happens in the future. May consider moving if things get better at some point. And that's where the next item comes in as well, investing in solar power or wind turbine power, which is seems to be all the rage now. Some sort of way of subsidising the electricity that I'm using would be brilliant. Solar may be the way to go. That should get rid of any worries really of how quickly and how big my farm grows, as long as I keep it under control. So those are both things that I'm looking at, what I can afford, what I can do, what's acceptable in the sort of living state that I'm on, because there's always do's and don'ts that the council can put on you. Yeah, like everything, I'm always late to the party. No matter what it is, I always get in too late. GPU mining, for instance, I got in too late, and the Ethereum merge came very, very quickly, and then I was stuffed. I hadn't invested in fast drives, fast expensive GPUs. I was using fairly cheap GPUs, so I couldn't be competitive. There was nothing that I could mine profitability or anywhere near profitable at all. So, late to the party there, and look what happened. I really wish I'd started in the crypto space a good few years earlier, and and been established and had a lot more knowledge than I do now whilst we're going through all these hard times. Hindsight is a wonderful thing, but never mind. And then there's the question of that fanless switch that kept me awake so many nights. Yeah, should have bought a fanless switch from the outset, because as soon as I bought the fanless switch, well, it was just, the difference was just unbelievable. You know, from noisy aircraft to nothing. It was just like, oh, heaven. So yeah, really wished I'd got that first off the bat. But that's pretty much it about, you know, what I would do differently. And then regrets. Well, surprising, none. It's been really enjoyable first year. I've really enjoyed learning the things I have learnt. I'd never played around with hardware to the extent I have now. Yes, I'd built computers since I was in my, 20s. Servers, configuring servers, putting in networks, the old, BNC connection ones and stuff. Yeah, always had a hand in hardware, but never done anything like this. Never built a GPU rig. Never built, didn't even know how a NAS unit worked until I got stuck into these, and now I'm upgrading them and advising people on how to do the same. So it's been really enjoyable. If you come from a technical background, you love this sort of stuff, and I do. Have I made any money? No, of course I haven't. Not in my first year. I wouldn't expect to. And I'm probably not going to make any money for some time, if at all. So, as I say, I don't do it for that. I'm doing it for the love of tinkering, playing around, making things work, configuring, thinking of solutions. It's all good to me. And if I can, impart some of that wisdom onto you, then all the better. So that's it for this video. Just a short one, just to let you know how that first year went. I thought I'd better make a video about it as it's an anniversary. So I hope you enjoyed that. Look forward to the next video, because big change is going to be discussed in there. I'm going to be showing you, hopefully, things in progress and how I'm going to adjust my plans to deal with, the state of CHIA at the moment, and the likelihood that it's going to be bad for some time. So yeah, give it a like if you can. I really appreciate that. Share if you've got somebody you know who would like to watch the video as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all my subscribers. It really means a lot. The figure is at 300 now, which is amazing. So that's a year, 300. I couldn't ask for more. It's brilliant, and I hope it grows more. And hit the bell notification icon so you know when I put up that next video. But for now, I'll say goodbye.